Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. If you're wealthy in America and you want one of those and you want the W12 version, you've got till April next year in order to buy one, as the engine is going to be discontinued in April next year. That's the V8 version, and if you wanted that one, it's $260,000 US before you add on the cost of the options. Anyway, as you know, and been keeping an eye on the news, the corporate America is starting to panic over the MGTOW effect sweeping across America, Canada and the rest of the Western world. As you know, the bridal industry is in sharp decline, but the other section of the bridal industry is also in now sharp decline. Because looking around, I found this. No doubt you've known all this before, engagement ring, but corporate America is starting to get seriously worried about the sharp decline in women not having engagement rings bought for them by men. As you can see, it says engagement ring sales down sharply according to America's biggest jeweler. And as you can see, this is CNN Business. Now this was written on April 25th this year, and if you go down, it says, on the heels of David Bridal, the largest seller of wedding dresses, declaring bankruptcy last week, another big seller of symbols of love, blah blah blah, is engagement rings not yet recovered from COVID-19, the old whipping boy. According to Signet Jewelers, the largest jewelry company in America, the pandemic dented sales of engagement rings as relationships faltered and never even blossomed in the first place due to the lockdowns. Well, you can see that COVID-19 was a blessing in disguise, as it gave guys a chance to really look at the women that they're with, or the guys found out that they like living on their own and not being bothered by female companionship, and thus the rise of MGTOW philosophy, and this is the result. Wedding dresses declaring bankruptcy and wedding rings sales going down. Anyway, Signet Jewelers with brands including Zales, blah blah blah, directed under its corporate umbrella, said a lot of early relationships in particularly faded as lockdowns began in the winter and copy spring of 22. So there again, we have the MGTOW effect. The guys got a close look at the woman they're with, being locked in the doors, and they didn't like what they're seeing. So it just goes on more about the engagement rings sales falling. Now, as I said, this was done on April 25th. Fast forward the next day, the New York Post jumped on the bandwagon. Engagement rings sales plummet and COVID-19 is to blame. Now, this article more or less says the same thing as the last article, but it says to get back to pre-pandemic levels, engagement ring sales, the Signet, would increase by 25% in 2026. No chance of that happening. However, Signet sales, a drop in ring sales, didn't come as a shock. I think I've covered this article before, so I'll just skip through it. Now, as I said, this was done on April 26. Next day, Insider jumped on the bandwagon, April 27th. This was done at 3:26 p.m. General Mean Time. America's largest jeweler company says ring sales are on the decline as fewer people get engaged. Signet Jewels going down. Company president says the company returns sales 2026. Yada yada yada. Flew Americans up to tie the rot. Jewelry companies are reporting a dip in engagement ring sales. That is the MGTOW effect. And Signet Jewels says consumer pandemic lockdown in 2020, pre-Signet data on average. Most couples get married about 3.25 years into a relationship. Well, that's not happening. And then it goes on and on and on. The company has also announced it would lay off 9,000 employees despite a booming weddings in 2022. That could be the high watermark for weddings, thanks in part to rescheduled ceremonies from the pandemic. Now, that was done at 3:26 p.m. The same day at 4 o'clock, An engagement from insider. An engagement gap is to blame for a sharp drop in ring sales, America's largest jewellery says. And then we have more or less the same thing as what all the other articles have said. 1922 saw a wedding boom. This may be coming to an abrupt end according to data from America's biggest jewellery company. And Signet Jewelers, parent company from jewellery such as Kay, declared blah blah blah. On and on, because people aren't dating as much in the year 2020. There are fewer couples getting engaged in 2022. And then it says a huge loss for Signet, 50% of its overall sales from bridal. Signet announced that comes on the heels of David Bridal bankruptcy and laying off 9,000 employees. And people began getting back after the lockdown. We can monitor the return of dating. According to CNN, dating is in fact up 8% on to pre-COVID. Well, that means if it's up 8% to pre-COVID, then 92% of people are not dating post-COVID. But I digress. Hello, who's that? How the perfect female body looked 100 years ago. She's quite pretty. Anyway. Fast forward to May the 10th. This is Tenoris. Jewelry sales decline in April. Lab-grown sales growth decelerates. Now this is more or less similar to what the other articles are saying, but I found this bit quite interesting. A high-level look at April 2023. Total fine jewellery sales were down 17.8% over the year. Natural diamond sales were down 19.3% over the year. There was a sharp decline in total values in every retail point range. Now up to $1,000, down 17%. $1,000 to $5,000, 14.2%. $10,000 to $20,000, 15.2%. $20,000 to $999, say $100,000, down 24.9%. Now this is where the high value men would be buying diamond rings for the women who are lucky enough to land a high value man. That's down 25%. So all these high value men, they're seeing what's happening and they're playing the field, because as everybody says in the comments section, these high value men have got options. Now this would be the celebrity high value men. Items over $100,000 down 58.3%. That means all these top tier men, the 1%, they're not bothering at all. If I was a top tier man in that wealth, I would buy investment diamonds, not in rings, just similar. It's similar to buying gold, platinum or silver bullion. It's a hold all for money, and you know that you'll be able to get a return on your investment. Just diamonds on their own, say £100,000 diamonds or £1 million diamonds, that's in this category. Breaking down sales of major categories show similar pictures. Sales of bridal jewellery declined 17.6% and fashion jewellery fell 17.6% over the year. Now we know about the bridal one, but this is rich, wealthy guys buying trinkets for the woman that they're with. They're obviously not bothering with that because they prefer to live on their own. So all these diamond necklaces and earrings that they would normally buy, 17.6% fell year over year. Now lab-grown diamond sales posted 28% over year increase. Now that's because lab-grown diamonds are used for industrial purposes, not in jewellery. However, this follows much better year-over-year increase in the first 3 months of the year. Now this doesn't have the MGTOW effect. This is just industry using lab-grown diamonds for jewellery sales, but as you know, the jewellery sales are in decline. Lab-grown jewellery sales were up 17.2%. There might have been sales up, but they're not passing on to the customers. In January, 54.2% in February and 37.2% in March. Now that doesn't say that it's going straight through into sales. As you can see, jewellery declined, sales are down 17.6%. So something's going on there. And then it goes on, the engagement bubble is over. Bridal jewellery, excluding loose diamonds, represents 22.2% of specifically jewellers' sales. We do not foresee a rise back to the 2022 levels. That is the MGTOW effect there. Purchases of high-class items are winding down, which is another MGTOW effect. Guys don't need all the stuff which women have, which will impact high volatility over £100,000 segments. That is that. And diamond jewellery sales is in the key £2,000 to £5,000 range are consistently declining since the start of the year, something that will likely dominate the rest of the year until the November-December holiday season. Now that, I should imagine, is the MGTOW effect. And then it goes, there's areas of softness that will remain in the market until external conditions improve and will drive down year-over-year expectations. On the plus side, we can expect a quick look back in April 2021 to see some stability against the pre-hyperactive market. Best of luck with that. And then we have graphs and more information. And then that's it. Now, this was done on May this year. Fast forward to June. Fortune magazine finally cottoned on to what's going on. There's now proof that the loneliness epidemic and how COVID devastated dating, a drop in signet engagement ring sales. This was done 8th of June at 10:58, say 11 o'clock p.m. at night, by obviously another lady writing it. Oh, bugger off. I'm not paying for Fortune. Anyway, the last one is this. Now, this is the Financial FT, the Financial Times. This is a London-based newspaper that's predominantly exclusively aimed at the business sector and the financial sector in London. As you can see, Signet Jewellers cuts output amid drop in demand for engagement rings. Now, this was done also on the 8th of June. Signet Jewellers, the world's largest jewellers, blah, blah, blah. The parent company Zales expects total sales of 7.1 to 7.3 billion, compared with the previous forecast of 7.62 billion. So, 7.67 billion to 7.84 billion. Diluted earnings per share are anticipated between $9.49 and $10.09. So the MGTOW effect is causing the share price to drop down. Engagement rings make up nearly half of Signet sales, as we've known before, and the company is Thursday flagging fewer engagements in the latest quarter, saying that the onset of the pandemic has disrupted the typical 3-year timeline for dating ring purposes. People are still getting engaged but buying a ring at a slightly lower price, or I would say they're not getting engaged at all, and that's causing a drop in sales. And shares in Signet fell 10.2% in the New York Danish jeweller Pandora stock fell 5%. The MGTOW effect is now affecting the stock market. And then it goes on, and that's it. Diluted earnings share 1.79 in the first quarter, which was above analyst expectations, for earnings 1.47 per share, a loss of 1.89 per share in the same quarter as last year. It all boils down to the MGTOW effect affecting engagement ring sales, because they're down sharply all over America. And as you can see, says American company ring sales on decline as fewer people get engaged, and they're blaming it on an engagement gap. By the way, Mum always said, look at a woman's hands and the state of her nails. If they're like that, then she doesn't do any housework. So, just for a guy to look out for when he's seeing women. But back to the article. Jewellery sales decline in articles. Gross sales growth decelerates. And everybody's blaming the loneliness epidemic and COVID, the favourite whipping boy. Sorry, excuse me. But it turns out that the MGTOW effect is having a dramatic effect in corporate America, and this is just the start of it, as the 60% of young American guys are not bothering to date, so we can expect this drop in engagement ring sales to be even worse next year. I think I'm well over the 10-minute mark now, so I'll have to wrap it up. I'll naturally put all the links below. So, you know the routine, people. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe. It's completely up to you. If I find anything more on this theme, I'll continue it next week. But for now, that's it for this one. Bye-bye.